We'll mark it as E as an egg. Okay, and the district does not oppose. And the parties do not expect that this modification will result in a violation of Health and Safety Code 41700 in terms of a nuisance. Okay, so everything is marked. And I'm going to look to see if there's any member of the public who might be present before we deliberate. And I don't see anyone present who we don't recognize from the public. Okay, and so I'm going to ask who would like to. I see both Mr. Balagopalan and Senator. First, Senator, do you have something? Would you like to begin discussion?
That's been referred to in this deposition by Mr. Delaney. It's on of his depositions on page 3. I'm sorry. Page 4, line 15. Should that be an exhibit also?
It was separately submitted, but we could mark it. So let's do that. Okay, so the status update by New Indy. Let's see, what am I now up to? I'm up to.
The status update, is that attached to something or?
It was separately sent to us.
Is that what it's called, status update?
Let's see, they call it, let me see what they call it. That's just what it's referred to as in the declaration. Let's see. It's called the status, it's a status report dated March 19th.
Oh. I don't think I have that.
Let me see.
And Madam Chair,
Yes.
I also not finding Renee's declaration. I'm looking for it. Somehow I must have missed it.
Okay, do you want to take a moment to print it
Yeah, if
out?
I could. Yeah, and
Yes.
yes.
Let's take a moment to get the status update in front of us so that we can mark it. And then anything else that is not.
So that came in on March 9th, the status update. It was date stamped March 9th.
Hold on. Tom, let me find it. Here we go. I received it by email March 20th.
March 20th.
I will print the first page so that I can show.
Or if you could forward it to the clerk,
Yeah, let me.
board, and then I'll print it so I can mark it.
Okay. Sorry, I had a hard time. Okay. Do you want me to send it to the front PC or clerk of board at AQMD?
Board. I'm going to step out and get it.
Okay, I just sent it. And I will print the first page so I can show it.
Madam Chair, that's a email, right?
Yes, we received it by email from clerk of board. Came from Rebecca on the 20th.
Cash. See what they'll take for it. Cash.
No, that's not the right thing. Oh, wait, this isn't it.
I received something on March 20th, but there's no attachment.
Yeah, now that I'm looking at it.
And then we did receive something the day before on the 19th. I don't know whether that's it or not. I haven't looked at that one. But the one for the 20th, there's no attachment at all. Let's see.
You are correct, now that I'm looking at it.
Let's see.
Yeah, I think that letter is, that status hearing report is summary reports on the 9th. We got it on the 19th as a PDF.
Okay, on the 19th? I'm looking at the
Yes,
wrong,
ma'am.
and I might have forwarded the wrong thing
I
to,
believe so.
Yes, you're right.
here we go. You're right. Okay, let me send that to.
It's a 14-page document.
Now, is that the one that has York Engineering
Yeah.
on the letterhead?
Yes,
Yeah.
I believe so. Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yes, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna print the first
so
page.
I just got an email. So is that what we're talking about? Is just an email?
No, sorry, what I sent you did not have the attachment, even though it said it did, but I just resent, and now this one does have, it's a 14-page document with York letterhead.
Okay, let me go back out there again.
So the one we have is okay.
Yes. I think I'm gonna mark it, wait till Rosalinda comes back, but I believe it's it'll be number 7. Go get it.
Got it.
Okay.
This is-
Okay, so this is it. This is the first page.
Yes, got it.
And we'll mark it number 7. And we will enter it into evidence as requested by the parties. And well,
Okay, number 7.
it is in evidence, but
Madam Chair, it's Mohan. Could you mind going back and marking all the attachments again, please?
yes, of course. Okay, so I've marked, hold on, let me make sure I have these in order. Okay, first for petitioner, which is New Indy, I have marked the joint stipulation of the parties is exhibit number 5. Okay. Declaration of Steve Delaney is exhibit number 6.
Just a second. 6.
Okay. And now the 14-page York document, which is the status update, that will be number 7 for petitioner.
Yeah.
Okay. And as for respondent district, we have the declaration of Renee Luth, isn't letter C, is in Charlie. Declaration of Paolo Longoni is D, as in David. And the proposed findings and decision will be E, as in egg. Okay.
Okay.
All right, and I still see no member of the public who wishes to be heard today. And so if we're all caught up on marking the documents, would anyone like to begin discussions? I think this modification, I think I can make, well, I could remake the findings for a variance, but I think I also could find good cause, whatever the standard may be. But I will go with the new with the findings for a variance. The only request that is being made is not a request to the final compliance date, but a request to move the one of the interim compliance dates of May 20th for the turbine number 2, D75, with regard to its non-compliance with source testing, RADA testing, and the temperature requirements of its permit. And the reason why, you may recall that these are new turbines. They were put into operation, and New Indy, which is a paper mill and relies very heavily on steam production, found that that these 2 turbines did not produce the required amount of steam that they needed for their production. It was very large shortfall of steam. However, it's the permit for the turbines do not allow both turbines and the boiler that exists to operate at the same time. And also we're having excess emissions from running all of these. And they also, of course, have to run it at a higher temperature than is allowed. We had, in our past hearings, we had one status hearing to find out what was going on. They engaged 2 engineering firms, and they determined that they would be able to have the requisite amount of steam that they need if they installed baffles and kicker plates. They've done that. They also attempted to modify their permit for a temperature change. However, once they installed and began using, they did it first on turbine 2, D75, and found that it was a significant improvement. However, they still have a shortfall. I think it's a 40,000, whatever the unit is. They still have a shortfall. And so they have redetermined what they need to do. And essentially what they need to do is to change the SCR. Where is it? They contracted with Sun Construction to develop an engineering proposal to upgrade the steam header cooling system and replace the SCR catalyst with a high temperature model. They believe that in both of these turbines and the SCRs will increase the steam to what they need. And so as a result, they have now submitted the permits for both turbines and SCRs to make sure that they can have those upgrades done and implemented in order to make the August 20th deadline for the entire variance for both turbines. And now they're asking to move the May 20th deadline for turbine 2 to 30 days after they receive the permit for the changes that they're making, or I think July 12th, whichever comes first. And according to the declaration of Renee Loof, they expect that the permit will issue approximately June 12th, which would make that timing work. So I think, given the fact that the original baffles and kicker plates did not work, but it worked significantly, and given the fact that they now have this new plan, they have put it into action, according to the declaration of, Paolo Longoni, they are in compliance with all conditions of the variance. And given that they have increased steam, so essentially they'll be using the boiler less. And they will be in compliance with the final date of August 20th. I think we have everything we need to make any findings in order to modify the variance so that we can grant that extension of just that one deadline. Those are my thoughts. Anyone else have any thoughts? Yes, Mr. Balagopalan.
Yeah, I got to applaud the facilities working, trying to address the issue, not getting enough steam production. And I think at the last presentation, they talked about the baffle plates and stuff. And after installing it, as you indicated, they're still not producing enough. And so now they're looking at the boiler number 2. And I think basically it's the duct burner. The duct burner all along was supposed to be the supplemental boiler basically, but they have not been able to get enough heat because of the SCR upfront. There's a temperature limitation, so now they have to change the SCR to a high temp, so then they can get the additional heat going to the duct burners, and then I think the replacement of the nozzles is so they can quickly cool down the steam too. So I think all those, I'm sure they have had experts look at that and propose those changes. So hopefully those will work. My issue has been, when I opposed it the last time, and it was only because I didn't get a clear picture of what the NSR threshold was. And actually, I did send a couple of questions before I agreed for it to be in the consent calendar. However, I believe the response came from the consultant, not from the engineering team. I was just looking for a very straightforward, because just as a background, there's a new source review, the threshold, everything is ledgered, everything is tracked in the system. You have a ledger which tells you plus minus how much it was, PT was for each application, what was used to offset those emissions. So, and so I was just trying to get what that was, just to, the engineer just provided the ledger or explained, how that's what was done. And so the answer I got was still not satisfactory. However, when I looked at the actual emission, the last.
Can I stop you for one moment? Do
Sure.
you have information that the rest of the board does not have?
Oh,
that
you
you're
didn't get
describing right now?
Yeah, I did send some questions and there were responses to the question. Was that not?
I don't
Um,
believe that was circulated. Board members,
circulated? Okay, the clerk of the board has it because they sent it back to me.
Okay, we'll need to take a moment then and identify where those emails are and that information, and we'll have to circulate it to the board members so that we can all, because otherwise you are basing your decision on evidence we don't have before us.
Sure.
Can you help?
Yeah, I can send it to the clerk again, just forward.
Why don't we take a moment and have you do that, and then Madam Clerk, if you could circulate it to all of us, and then we could take a moment to look at it. We'll mark it, and then we can continue this discussion because I think we're all in the dark.
Okay.
As to what information you have that we do not.
Okay, my apologies. I just thought that was, I guess that should have been marked. Hold on. Let me find it and I will forward it. Okay, I just sent it to the clerk of the board.
Okay, so we'll take a few moments off. Let's go off the record until Rosalinda is back, and it's been circulated and we've all had a chance to review it. So we're off the record.
I'm just wondering, Julie, did you get it from the clerk or? Hopefully I sent the right one.
No, not yet.
Let's see the attachment.
Okay, I did receive. I don't know if other board members did. Let me see what we have here.
The attachment, the email thread.
So you're talking about there's a response to your questions. Okay, so this has the questions and the responses.
Yes.
And do you know who responded?
I don't, but I think it's the consultant. I'm guessing it's a consultant from the nature of the response.
Okay, I'm going to print it so that I can read it.
I have not received it.
Nor I.
Oh, I think it's because I think Ms. Ferrera might have sent it directly to me. Let me see if I can, because I don't know, is what the was on the back? No, okay. I'll try to forward it to all of you. Oops. That's not what I wanted to do.
Julie,
Yes.
Oh, okay. I send the,
I got that, but I also received a permit to construct from the petitioner. I guess it got issued. And so I think
I'm sorry, say this again?
he forwarded a permit to construct that was issued, I think, yesterday from the district.
Oh, the permit to construct in this case was issued?
Yes. So I think it may change a little bit of what the, I think the way that the condition reads or the, because I think, isn't there
I
some,
don't think so, because it says 30 days from receipt of it or granting of it, or July 12th, whichever is sooner, isn't
well,
that?
he mentioned something about not having something, I don't know. Honestly, I didn't follow him, but I don't know if it's something that he needs to be on the record. I could see that Teresa's on there, so maybe I don't know if it's maybe more efficient to have him.
We cannot do that because we're on consent, so we can't have any witnesses or parties represented unless we take it off consent and both parties come on.
Well, we have one party on and he's available to come on. I mean, unless I could forward the permit to you, but he did have some,
So who is it who?
Greg Wolf.
Teresa, did you want me to unmute you? Okay. Wait, well, first of all, let's go back on the record for a moment. Go ahead, Ms. Ferrera.
Okay, the permit was issued. I don't think it affects the findings. We are on consent, so I you know, and they're not participating. I wasn't going to participate either, but I wasn't, I was having problems with the webcast. The questions to Mr. Balag, to the answers to Mr. Balagpalan's questions were prepared by the district. The district engineer responded to those questions and the district inspector. So it was district staff that was the source of those responses.
And Ms. Ferrera, since you're just here, did New Indy, or did they also receive those responses? And you
Yes,
have
they did.
And if
Yeah.
they were in agreement with those responses?
Yes, they were.
Okay, so then we'll mark them as a
So like,
hearing board exhibit, I think. So because the parties did not ask in the stipulation to mark it.
I'll go ahead and forward them to you, to the board.
Okay, thank you. I was trying to do that.
all right, I also forwarded the response letter. I think in the first email, he didn't have that attachment because I didn't do the forward. I just did reply to, so.
Okay. All right, so we're off the record. Well, we're gonna all receive and review that, and when we come back, we'll mark it as a hearing board exhibit because we didn't have it noted in the stipulation, but it was sent to the hearing board member, and so now we'll all have it. I printed it. I'm gonna go get mine.
Julie? Could you check your phone?
My phone's not here. I'll go get it. board members, do we need more time to review?
And I apologize to the board members who subjected to all this reading. I apparently had too much time on my hand to draft all those questions. And I didn't realize, by the way, that this was from the engineering staff. I thought it was from the consultant, from the nature of the response. So what I was going to say, what I was saying was, if this is the,
Before you start, I just want to
sorry.
make sure we're not on the record. And also, I want to be clear, I see Ms. Ferreira and I see Mr. Wolf has joined. However, this is on consent and parties are not supposed to appear. If the parties wish to appear, we could take it off consent. At this moment, unless we receive a request to take it off of consent, I'm not planning on doing that. Okay, Ms. Pereira.
While you were reading the papers, I spoke with Mr. Wolf, and it seems that an issue has arisen where it appears we may need to take this matter off consent. Apparently, the facility did not expect to receive the permit so quickly. And when they said they could do it within 30 days of receipt of the permit, they didn't expect to receive it till the end of the month. So the 30 days within issuance provision that is now in the findings, actually, I believe does present a problem for the facility. And so I think they're going to want a later date, compliance date, for that one provision of the findings.
Okay, so are the parties prepared to have witnesses and go forward and remove this from consent?
I think we could just change that language in the findings to a new date, and the district would stipulate to that date, and then it would still be based on the evidence presented, so that it could remain on consent, because I am not ready with witnesses today other than the declarations that we've already submitted.
Okay, so this stipulation would be that the permit has been received. The permit to construct has already been issued, and that was significant. Well, and we already know from the declaration of, sorry, I forget which one it is. Is it Renee Loof? That, yes, from Renee Loof, that it was anticipated that would issue on June 12th. So
that was the outside date based on the maximum 45-day review from EPA. As it turns out, EPA got it back, allowed us to issue it sooner. So we were able to issue it sooner. That was not expected.
So the stipulation would be that it was that EPA review was quicker. The permit issued. Permit issued more than a month before was otherwise anticipated. Is that, and that you agree to change that modification?
Yes, and Greg, what day do you think what's the earliest that you can now get in or the new catalyst?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm hearing everything 3 times.
Okay, again, right now, if we're asking factual questions, we need to open the hearing, because then we would need to take.
Okay, so I'm hearing everything. There's a lot of feedback. So the catalyst is.
I asked before it sounds like you're testifying. I haven't sworn in witnesses. Perhaps what we need to do is go off the record. Ms. Pereira, you can speak with Mr. Wolf outside of the hearing. Please maybe take 15 minutes. We'll come back, we'll take a break. And then if you can maybe submit a stipulation that changes where you agree, maybe perhaps there can be an additional quick declaration. of any facts we don't have, or a change to the stipulation where the parties agree to stipulate as to those facts, and then proposes a new modification. Once we have those papers, and then we can come back and it'll still be on consent. But if Mr. Wolf is going to testify, then we'd have to take it off consent.
Give us some time and I will talk to him.
How much time do you think you need? And we'll give you that amount of time.
It is 9:54 right now. Give us till, can we have till 10:15?
Sure, if that's enough time.
Okay,
Okay, so we will take a 20-minute break right now, board members, and we'll go off the record until 10:15.
okay, thank you.
We're off the
I just
record.
have one question regarding the questions that Mohan had and the answers from the engineers. Are we going to label this an
Oh,
exhibit?
yes, when we come back, because now we
Okay.
went off the record, but we'll make it a hearing board exhibit. Actually, I'll do it officially, but it'll be hearing board 1 because we only have 1. Thank you for reminding me. Okay, again, nobody get off, but but we will just mute. Make sure you mute, and I'll mute you if you haven't muted.
Julie? It looks like we just received a stipulation from the parties by email. So we just forwarded it to you, to the board.
Okay. Let's see if I see all the board members are here. Do you all hear that? Okay. So let's all take a look at that.
Did the senator hear us?
Mhm. Senator, did you hear that a new stipulation of the parties was sent to all of us?
Change the date, yes.
Yes, you heard that. Okay,
Okay.
we'll look at that. Rosalinda,
Yes.
since we have another, oh, well, we're supposed to go on back on now. Can you, I think we need just one more thing added to that stipulation. The first stipulation where it says May 6, 2020, the district issued the permits to petitioner. This issuance occurred earlier than anticipated by petitioner. You need to agree to a stipulation that then takes us from there to an additional 30 days. We have nothing in the record to support why an additional 30 days would be requested. Just that it occurred earlier than anticipated is not specific enough.
You're referring to the first stipulation, number 5? Exhibit number 5?
No, I'm talking about this email that they
Oh,
sent.
the most recent one.
I don't know if the parties are still around and hear me, but before we can, we'll need something else. We need another finding of fact to support that that requested modification. Oops. And an agreement that stipulation can be put into evidence.
Okay. This is Teresa Barrera. Please give us another 10 minutes or till 10:30 and we will get back to you.
Okay, and I think, let me just check with the board members. Does everybody feel that you had enough? And the reason why I'm asking this is because the other option is to simply move this to Tuesday, because I know that the date we're talking about changing is May 20th. Today's the 7th. So we still have time. We can move it. We have another matter on consent on Tuesday. We could move this to Tuesday. And so the question is, do fellow board members wish to have more time to look over what was sent by, what would be hearing board exhibit number 1 from Mohon, the responses to Mohon? We didn't get that till today. and then give the parties time to have all the papers in order. Otherwise, it doesn't sound like it will be that much more time. Yes, Senator. Oops. So, oops, wait, oh, wait. Okay, yeah,
If they can agree by 10:30, let them do it.
okay. And my question was just, does anyone need more time to look over what we got? Okay, fine. So let's do that. Let's have till 10:30. And so the two things we need are, I think I know the reason, but I shouldn't know that outside the hearing. So the reason why the 30 days is necessary, and just an agreement that those additional facts can also be placed into the record in evidence. And we'll come back at 10:30. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have we received the additional information? I don't know.
I sent it to the clerk.
Okay, we haven't received it yet, so we'll get that distributed.
I think we just forward it now, Julie.
Okay. Where's mine?
Did you guys receive it?
Looks like my internet is slowing down. Let me see if I got it on my phone.
Okay.
We'll double check.
I received something that says Hubble.
Yeah, that's another case next
Right.
week, and yeah, different matter.
But that's the most recent thing I received.
You should receive it now.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, I think it got stuck in the outbox. You, Julie?
I'm just my stuff's spinning. I don't know why. I'm starting to have.
Oh, no.
I mean, it could be because I'm competing for Wi-Fi with my son who's on Zoom for classes. Let's see. Okay, I got it. I got it on my phone. Okay, I'm still having trouble with computer, but I do have it by email. So does everyone have it? And should we go back on the record? Okay. All right, we are back on the record and we're still on consent. And even though the parties briefly appeared in order to amend their stipulation, we are not holding a hearing and we are still keeping this matter on consent. We're going to make the following, mark the following documents and make the following changes. First of all, we never actually marked, even though I said it would be marked, we never marked formally the district's response to questions from Mr. Balagopalan. So we're going to mark that. I see it's a 3-page document. We'll mark it as hearing board 1, hearing board exhibit 1. And then we received a forwarded email from the parties. It's an email chain
Oh,
from,
I have that first document as a 5-page document.
oh, did you include the emails?
Also, you're just you're just doing the first 2 pages of it?
No, I had the response that looked like this, but we can mark it with the emails as well.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I see what you're saying. Oh, okay, so just that part of it then you want to have.
Let's mark that.
Okay.
That's
just the
the
3
actual
pages.
substance.
Okay, got it.
Okay, so that will be marked as hearing board 1. We also received an email chain from the parties with additional stipulations and a request to make a change. So we'll mark that whole chain as F. Let's mark it as F since it ultimately came from Ms. Ferreira for respondent district, that email chain. And let's go through it. So
What's the date? What's the date on the very first?
well, that would be today. So it would be the 7th. May
Okay,
7th.
10:32. That one.
Sorry.
The 10:11 at 10:11.
Right.
To me, it's 10:30. I see 10:32. Please provide to the hearing board members.
Right.
Okay, so that one,
So that'll be
the whole chain will be F as in Frank.
okay.
Okay, and then we'll go through it. And so the additional stipulations are as follow. On May 6, 2020, the district issued the permits to petitioner. This issuance occurred earlier than anticipated by petitioner. And board members, we'll note that that in the declaration of Renee Loof, that is consistent with the fact that he had anticipated it to be June 12th, which is quite earlier than anticipated. The second stipulation is that in the March 19th, 2020 status report, which we marked as exhibit number 7, petitioner estimated that the catalyst would be delivered, and that's the SCR catalyst, would be delivered on or about May 18th, 2020. Petitioner states that it has since received updated information and now anticipates that the catalyst will be delivered on or about May 29th, 2020. The parties agree that page 9, line 1 of the proposed finding, so that was marked as exhibit E. So let's change that together. Page 9. Okay. And that was the modification that is requested. And the original modification as requested, originally it said it was a March 20th deadline. May 20th deadline. The original change modification that was requested was within 30 days of the permit or July 12th, 2020, whichever is sooner. And they would now like to change that to within 60 days of issuance of the permits or July 12th, 2020, whichever is sooner. In order to take into account the anticipated date of delivery of the catalyst. They also agree that the information regarding the catalyst delivery date can be considered by the hearing board, and this matter can remain on the consent calendar. And further up in the chain, Mr. Wolf agreed, stated, I agree. So all of that is now stipulated and added to the record. Okay, is everyone on the same page? Okay, so we are going to, I still do not see that there's any additional member of the public, although I would give an opportunity for them to be heard. I already went through my rationale for why the findings can still be made. Obviously, beyond reasonable control is still the same finding. It's the same violations, same rules, permit sections. Also, a large amount of money. In fact, it goes up over the summer. That will be lost. And the same excess emissions will continue, even though they would continue. No, they would still continue because ultimately the original order, which we're not which the parties are not asking to change, we allowed through August 20th for violation of E193.3, which is to allow both turbines and the boiler to operate. So excess emissions are not affected by this modification. It's the same as we had already weighed and balanced. And so for all the same reasons that we were able to make the original findings, I believe we can make the findings again. And Mr. Balagopalan, we interrupted your deliberation. You wished to discuss the reason why you originally voted no, based on your concern. Well, I'll let you go ahead, but based on your concern that this type, you felt that this may fall within the type of variance that could not last longer than 90 days. So I'm going to turn it back over to you if you want to begin that discussion again.
Yes, thank you. I just before that, I wanted to add, I think there was a declaration that this is an essential business service that making those boxes, cardboard boxes in lieu of the, because of the pandemic. So it's essential that this operation continues. So that's another factor to consider in consenting to the order. And as I was saying earlier, that I did have those questions, and while initially I thought the responses were from the consultant because of the nature of the response, while maybe it's my lack of understanding, or I don't have the the transaction in front of me. But as I was mentioning, everything it's a very transactional database. Everything is there's a ledger for every action that is taken. So there is so I'm sure the engineer I'm assuming looked at it and made the finding he did. So I am not going to argue with that anymore. While it didn't actually specifically answer my question. I was just hoping for a straightforward answer on how that additional offset was subsumed into the to allow the permits to be issued. But I think at this point, the reason is looking at the actual emissions. The actual emissions are going down, I think, and because now the boiler is generating more steam. I did some, roughly about only the standby boilers are about generating only about 10% of the daily emissions. So, and then hopefully with the catalyst in place, and then the higher temperature can be realized across the unit, and then the duct burner can start operating as it's supposed to. So that will negate the need for the continuation of the standby boiler, which is, there was a very specific condition, and that's why I was was trying to get a handle on. There was a very specific condition saying only the one turbine and and the standby boiler, and I was trying to get that number. But at this point, I think I'm okay with your findings, and I can go ahead and agree to vote on a consent.
Thank you. And Mr. Balagopalan, I just wanted to say I think it's very important that with your engineering background that these kinds of questions do get raised and do get answered. And so we appreciate that. And it definitely helps the body of evidence and understanding and really fleshes out our findings. So very much appreciated. And just to remind the board, even though this doesn't necessarily answer to the question you originally had, that there is that cap of 110 pounds of PM10, which is what not running the boiler, but running both turbines, which would otherwise be allowed, would yield. So anyway, with that, I know Ms. Verdugo-Peralta, you wanted to join. I'm trying to unmute you. I think you have to unmute yourself.
Yes, got it. Thank you, Madam Chair. I really do appreciate the fact that Mohan asked these questions, because for me, it clarified when you're talking about regulation 13 and the threshold. And the most important thing I was looking at was the SCR, the Selective Catalytic Reduction Unit, and how was that going to come into play? Were they going to be able to get all of the components that they needed for it within the period of time specified? But the fact that PM10, particulate matter, when you're thinking about the health risks that imposes upon the surrounding population, I think it's very important for us to understand completely how that was going to come into play. And I for one, do really appreciate the fact that the question was asked, and whether it was their engineer or our engineer, we got, I think for me, more clarification. So with that, I am in favor and can find good cause. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else have any thoughts before we make a motion? Okay. And I'll make the motion. In the matter of New Indy, Ontario, LLC, case number 6162-1, I move that we have made the findings to modify the regular variance as requested, and as then subsequently the request amended, so that I further move that we will adopt the proposed findings and decision that is found in Exhibit E, and that we delete the word proposed from the findings, and that we're going to have to add to the findings in the findings portion. I'll have to figure out where this goes after, but what we'll have to add are the new facts that that were received in Exhibit F, which includes the fact that the permit has already been issued, that it was sooner than expected by the parties, and that the catalyst is anticipated to be delivered later than expected and anticipated. And as a result, the parties will need, the petitioner will need 60 days time frame in which that modification, in which to be in compliance and do the testing that is required. So with that, we'll have to make those changes. I'll do that. And also I further move that we will amend page 9, line 1, that first bullet point. It no longer will read within 30 days of issuance of the permits. It will now read within 60 days. of issuance of the permits or July 12th, 2020, whichever is sooner. And finally, page 11, the very last line, condition 11, there is a line for fees to be paid, additional fees. I understand that the original fees were paid. And so we will insert on that line the date of May 26th, 2020. May 26th, is that the date?
Yes.
Okay. Is that the date we have? Isn't final compliance May 20th? I'm sorry, May 26th. Sorry, never mind. That's 15 days. Okay, May 26th, 2020. So, and everything else stays as was already anticipated and was originally ordered. And that completes my motion. Is there-
Second the motion.
Okay, Ms. Verdugo-Peralta seconds the motion. Is there discussion on that motion? Okay, seeing no discussion. Mr. Balagopalan, how do you vote?
Yes.
Dr. Bernstein, how do you vote?
Aye.
Senator, how do you vote?
Aye.
Ms. Verdugo-Peralta, you vote?
Aye.
I vote yes. Motion passes 5-0. And the variance has been modified as stated. Okay, board members, you have received now proposed consent calendar documents for Hubble. And so please, if you could review those today and please respond to the clerk whether you agree that that matter can be heard on consent or not. And is there any other business before we adjourn, board members?
I have a question.
Yes, Senator.
During the recess, each time the custom live streaming service was continuing, the recording was continuing. Was that intent? I mean, we were in dead time, nothing was happening, but it was still being recorded.
Yeah, that's why I asked that everybody mute your microphones, because or we just talk about things that we need to talk about that are okay to talk about publicly, even though, and that's because we, you know, in this new day and age, we don't have the same ability as we did to stop the recording and start the recording. So it's just going to continue to live stream. So I'm glad you mentioned that for those who aren't, you know, prepared for that, to know that that is occurring. So thank you for raising that. But that, I don't believe that can be changed. I think that's just a necessity.
Can be, but it's okay.
Okay.
This means I have to wake up.
As long as you're not sleeping during the hearing, that's fine.
Or you have to watch who's in the background too.
That's right. Nothing else going on back here.
Yeah.
It made me clean up my office.
You just move everything so that all you have is just the bookcase, right? Right, Mohan?
Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
Dr. Bernstein? All right, everyone.
So-
Any other business?
So Tesoro's on for next Tuesday, correct?
Yes.
It is.
Consent calendar.
And then it's
It's
consent.
currently on consent. I have something I'm going to be sending to the
Oh,
clerk.
just so, Ms. Prozak, I did send an email requesting information on that before I agreed to put it on consent, so I'm not sure if the clerk has.
That needs to be sent to all of us. After that loop is finished, we need it. And also, I'm going to have some information. And I apologize if the parties happen to see this, and to the clerks, that I did not do that earlier, but I have some concerns. So I'm sending that email as soon as we get off and we adjourn.
And Mohan, you already sent yours?
Yes, I did. I received a response and I sent the agreement to be on consent.
Oh, you did. So you're okay with consent?
I'm okay, yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
but that additional information should be circulated to all of us.
And Rosalinda, you'll send that out?
I'm not following. You sent?
Oh, no, that additional information, my email and the response to the email, the clerk will send it out, right?
For Tesoro?
Yeah, for Tesoro.
Oh, okay. When did you send that?
I think it was a couple of days ago, I think, you know.
Oh, okay. I'll have to check.
I think
It was after May
Rebecca sent,
1st. because that
Rebecca
was-
sent it to me.
Okay, yeah, I don't know. I'm not at the front desk, so I'll have to check, but, okay, so you said.
I
you
can
had
forward it
questions-
again.
You had questions about it?
Yeah, I did have a question. There was a response back
And then,
from,
then you consented to have it?
then I consented
Agreed.
to it. Yeah.
Okay. We'll look for it. I'm sure we probably have it here.
Okay,
And
Thank
then
you.
Julie will look for yours too, once you send yours.
Okay.
And
Thank
we'll-
Okay, if there's no other business, we will adjourn. Senator.
Right, the store is on consent, is that correct?
It is currently on consent unless a board member today wishes to take it off. I think that we should probably cut it off. If you haven't responded to the clerk, please do so by today.
And then, of course, you want Hubble to be on consent, or is it on consent?
They have now requested, we just received those documents today, and they are also requesting to place the matter on consent. So if you can review that today, and board members can get back to the clerk today with regard to whether or not we would like to remove it or keep it on.
On the agenda for May 13th for that item, it says consent calendar. Is that already on consent?
Well, the parties place it on consent. They agree to place it on consent, and then any board member may remove it. That's why we need to review them today and then get back to the,
All right, okay. No problem. Thank you.
okay? Okay, any other business?
We
Okay,
just need to send in our expense claims.
oh, thank you for that reminder.
Is that for money?
Okay. Okay, we are then adjourned. Thank you all for another good hearing.
Thanks, everybody. Take care. Have a great weekend.
Same to
Bye.
you. We're
See you
jumping in the
soon.
pool.
All right.
Toodaloo.
Thanks, Paul, for all your hard work and coordinating all of this, by the way.
Always glad to help. Have a great
Have-
week.
Have a good weekend.
Thank you.
Hey, Paul, don't hang out. I could talk to you after.
Okay.
You could probably hang everybody up. Let me see.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, Paul. Good.
All right.
You saw the email from Al Teresa, right?
No, I haven't. Not yet. No.
I sent it to you because she wanted the audio recording for the hearing board meeting for this month.
Okay.
So I told her that you can get it from the Crestron or from the recording, right? How you normally do your recording.
They usually do it on the FTR, but the FTR is not in service right now. They don't use the excuse me. They don't use the FTR is off. It's dark.
Oh, why? Why is that? Because of we using Zoom?
Yeah, they don't turn it on to, it's with the Zoom, they don't activate that system. It's off.
Awesome. So we still have to get it from the Zoom meeting.
Zoom meeting. Yeah, I think Mark has found a way to take it off.
No, I know how to take it off.
No, you know how to take it off? You want to show me how
Yeah,
to do it?
you have to basically go into like their account,
Uh-huh.
right? You have to log in under the repair hearing board account, and
Uh-huh.
then, you know,
Okay.
yeah, I mean, you have to go in there and then go into like their past meetings. I think, dashboard. You have to look at their dashboard, right? And then just look for the past meetings,
Mm-hmm.
and then see if you could grab the file. I mean, I thought they were using the FTR, but if
No,
not,
it's off. Yeah, it's part of the Crestron system that's turned off.
yeah. What I can do, let me see. And maybe I can show you through Zoom. Yeah, and I could, like I said, I could show you through Zoom maybe. Maybe I
Yeah.
don't know, I could do the support on it. But yeah, I mean I could do that, and you could at least pull like one of the file out for her, and then you could just do the same thing.
Yeah.
For a month. So if you want to connect, I think I can connect to your laptop, right?
Uh-huh.
But you have to go into my PC, and then I could control your desktop, and then I could show you how to go.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let me see. Let me open up my meeting, and then you could disconnect on this one here, and then I could show it to you when I take control of your laptop. It's a lot easier to show it to you than to tell you.
Oh yeah, I'm
You
sure.
can
Absolutely.
see it, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's go ahead and leave this meeting.
Okay.
And let me start my other meeting right now, so that way when you get in, I'll go to my my personal room. Let me see my personal
Yeah.
room.
Is that the 229? So go to 2911.
Well, let me oops. Let me see. I have to sign in as myself first. Yeah, 2911. Yep, 2911. Let me start my meeting. Start meeting. Open Zoom. Join audio. Let me get full screen. Okay. Go ahead and see if you could join my meeting.
Shall I just
Yeah, the 909-396-2911, my extension.
shall I leave this one?
Yes. Yeah, go ahead and leave it and then join it.